let's talk about the Argos. The Argos is their Battlestar carrier. It contains an overwhelming array of hangars and missile tubes, but hosts little in the way of self-defense. The Argos' external hangars will allow similar wing capacity as other supercarriers, but not as effective with squadron support and repairs. So, again, this is supposed to be on par with a Minerva Battlestar, and as mentioned, I don't think it can shoot. So, it's a bit of a problem with the Argos. They don't really have anything that can fight back. That's fine. So, for the loadout, I'm going with 3 nukes and 3 raiders. And we'll put it in the middle of the fleet. So I'm going to use the Argos, and the Colonials are going to be using the Minerva 1, because I already have a fleet called Minerva. As you can tell, the Argos are actually a little bit more powerful than the Minerva, so this is kind of where things start changing in terms of fleet points. The Minerva is running with 2 Viper 2s and 2 nukes. So, while the Argos does have more fleet points, it's more expensive, therefore in theory it should be a more powerful ship. I don't think it's got turrets, so it's not great for this. Beefy, perhaps, but not great. Yeah, look at that. It's got nothing. It relies solely on the nukes. So,
by your command,
it's got to launch everything. And it's going to be a slugfest, so I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go max on the engineering. I do not need armory. And munition salvo size. Like, here's the thing with the munition salvo size. Let's just check this. So go max munition salvo size.
Systems have been updated.
It won't matter with the nukes, right? But if I was using something else with, that fired 4 or 8 shots at a time, it could make a big difference. But with this kind of loadout, you can almost guaranteed keep the fire control like nil. And all you really need then is to kill your armory, because, well, you're not resupplying munitions. You only got 1 nuke. And you're going to really rely on your hangar, and you kind of want to rely on your navigation. And tech bay, yeah, that's not bad. But tech bay doesn't really matter because, you're not really needing your Dratus, in theory. Hopefully. We'll see. Now, this thing has 2 nukes, so we're going to send
calculating
2 fighters out, and we'll keep 1 fighter back at home to defend it. It's easy when you know what you're fighting against, and you can exploit that type of ship, and you know how it's probably going to fight, and what its weaknesses probably are. But, if you don't know what that ship is, you can't make these moves with such confidence. That all being said, now, it's probably a wise idea to keep a wing of fighters at home anyway. And seeing as I have actually yeah, well, keep dancing, you two. No. Everyone defend this thing. Yes. And you guys go after that squadron of Vipers. The problem with this, in this case, is we don't have the numerical advantage now. Which is fine. We also don't have the speed advantage.
Confirmed. Confirmed.
Let's try to get those guys slowed down a bit. Let's try to save my graders if I can. And we'll just keep running from those arseholes. Come on, 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 come on. Land! 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 Land, you jerks! Land! Alright, now you guys need to defend the base star. And the base star needs to keep running away. Excellent. As long as you blow up those two nukes. As long as you blow up those two nukes. Excellent. Now, let's split these guys up. You guys go after that squadron. You guys go after that squadron just so that we can kind of see them.
Hostile unit identified.
Done. Now.
Confirmed.
I've seen them.
Calculating.
They're giving chase to me. So I'm going to launch a nuke from the front or the side or something, and it's going to head straight back towards their ship.
Target acquired.
Come on. Now, unless... And the AI apparently isn't smart enough to, like... do stuff. I honestly did not think that was gonna work. So let's launch another nuke at it. And let's launch all my fighters because unfortunately the Argos can't defend itself. It relies completely on its fighters and its munitions. But fortunately it's got 3 nukes, so it's all good. And like that's the thing, if you kind of load out the Argos like this, you can just turn off fire control because you're not really going to use it. And you can really maximize your squadron power. And I'm pretty sure this Minerva is about to be cooked. This battle is less surprising because we're getting to the point now where the Argos is a bit more where the silent ships are a bit more powerful. Would I fared as well going one-on-one against Jupiter? Probably. The advantage that the Jupiter has is just another munitions slot and a utility slot. And the Jupiter Mark II just has beefier armor. So what would have happened against Jupiter or Jupiter Mark II, they would have had a squadron of support ships or assault raptors or something like that to worry about. And I would have had to worry about a second nuke. I perhaps would not have been so aggressive with my raiders. I perhaps opting to keep them a bit closer to home. Because this is a carrier after all, it really can't defend itself. And these replays are kind of boring because the ships hardly interact at all. They send just fighters and missiles at each other. They don't even really properly get into each other's radius range. And that is the advantage of the Cylons being able to kind of keep their distance from the colonial ships. In a close quarters fight, a good old-fashioned brawl, this ship would have been destroyed by the Minerva because the Minerva can defend itself. This ship is mostly a carrier. In fact, like, it would even perhaps lose against an Atlas because the Atlas actually has guns to shoot at it. So, this ship. It's a little too focused and specialized, in my opinion, for use in the field. It's a neat little thing. It looks cool, and it's kind of fun having that many fighters and that many munitions. But it's something you really gotta look after. It should never be on its own. That's for sure. Whereas at least battle stars and other base stars can, you know, fight on their own without fear of dying. Well, sort of. But you see what I mean when I say, like, the big ships kind of are a little harder to manage because you've really got to babysit them. Whereas smaller, cheaper ships seem to kind of hold their own quite nicely. But yeah, this ship basically did nothing, and it's a pure carrier. It lets its fighters do all the work, and it lets its missiles do the talking. And given that's all you get for, what, 2,290 fleet points, I don't think this ship is all that useful.